What's up, architects and designers? Welcome back to Revidential. Today we are pushing the boundaries of design and functionality as we dive into the world of Autodesk Revit. Get to witness the birth of a stunning 3-bedroom bungalow crafted with precision and passion using the sleek and contemporary principles of contemporary architectural style. From foundation to finish, I'm going to guide you through every step of the modeling process, sharing tips and tricks to help you elevate your Revit skills. So whether you are a seasoned Revit user or you're just starting out for the first time, join me on this creative journey and let's begin this architectural masterpiece to life. Hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, and let's get started. Your dream design is just a few clicks away. So in order to open a project in Revit, we'll go to open here, but that is when you want to open a new project. For this tutorial, we're creating a 3-bedroom bungalow with the contemporary style of architecture. So we'll click on new. In order for us to pick a template, you can use any of these two, but for this tutorial I'm going to be using the one for a template I already have. So this is the template here in my desktop. I'm going to open. In a previous video I showed you how to load in the default metric template into your project, but for this tutorial I'm going to be using this particular template. The template was created in Autodesk 2021, that's Revit 2021, so it needs to upgrade to the current Revit version I'm using, which is Autodesk Revit 2025. So once it's done upgrading, we can now start up our work. So you can actually use any of the templates you have, or you can also get templates online. You can equally download these templates, or you can equally create yours. So I'm in my Revit user interface. So the first thing I need to do is to set up the levels of my work. I'm going to do that by going to any of the elevation. I'm choosing the south elevation, but you can actually do that in any of your elevations. So the templates I'm using comes with these 4 default levels, while the default metric gives you just two levels, but this template gives you the 4 and they are properly named. So I'm just going to be setting up my levels. For the NGL, which is the natural ground level, I'm going to be using -600 for this work. Then for my DPC, which is the damp-proof course, I'm going to be using 0. Then the ceiling level, it's a bit high. 37 is really high from this level, very high. So I might just want to click this, and then I might change this to 3150. Then I'll click enter. Then this is also too high. So to dimension, because I'm using a template where the dimensions are not shown in this view in any of the elevations, let me quickly show you that. So if I click on this and click on this, I've already dimensioned this. As you can see, the blue lines are the black lines have changed to blue to show you it has been dimensioned, but I'm not seeing the dimension. Why? Because the template doesn't allow dimensions to come out in the elevations. So what I need to do is to press RH on my keyboard. That is review hidden element. It is the shortcut for review hidden elements. Then I'm going to dimension, which is DI. Then I'll click on this and click on this, so you can see the dimension. Now the dimension, anything you hide in view in Autodesk Revit is actually going to change to red. When you press RH in your keyboard, you are going to see them in red. If I press RH again, you will see that the dimension line is not here. Even the dimension itself is not here, so I need to bring it out here. So I'm going to click on it, then I'll right click, then I will hide in view, then I'm going to do this by category. So once I do that, you can see it is no longer red to show you it is no longer hidden in view. So once I press RH again on my keyboard, you're going to see the dimension coming out. So this 3150, which is what I want as the headroom of my building. I'm also considering the tiles, the tile finish, the ceiling finish. Maybe I might want to use a suspended ceiling, maybe a POP or something. So these levels are also subject to change, so I can still change them in the course of the tutorial. So I'm going to click on the roof level. I'm going to bring this down by 300. Let's say I want to have a concrete fascia or something like that, so let's just leave this as it is for now. So the distance from the height of the natural ground level to the DPC is 600. That's what I want, so I'm going to leave this like this. So this is just for basic residential settings. Of course, for some commercial buildings, your DPC level could be higher than this, depends on what you want to design. So I'm done setting my levels for now, and I'm going to go back to my natural ground level and start up drawing. Now the next thing you need to do is to always remember to always work in between these 4 dots, because they are serving as your elevation dots. I think I made a video on the importance of working in between these 4 dots, so they are very important in Autodesk Revit. So the next thing to do is to click on grid here, or you can use the shortcut GR for grid. You can type GR in your keyboard. It's a shortcut for grid. It's going to allow you to be able to draw grid lines that you'll be using in your work. So what do you need to do to get these grid lines? All right, one thing you need to do is to always make sure you've already done a sketch. This sketch is now going to guide you on the distance from your grid to grid, or the dimension from your grid to grid. It's going to be helpful so you don't waste more time when you are trying to arrange your grids instead of working directly. So I've already made a sketch of my grids, so I'm going to just start with grid 1. I always name my vertical grids with numbers, then my horizontal grids with alphabets. So as you can see, I've drawn a grid, but it's not showing that well. Why? The template I'm using has this grid line imputed in it already, and by default the grid line is always half toned, so you need to on halftone it or bring it out from halftone. So to do that, I'm going to click on the grid, right click, then override graphics in view. Then I'm going to do this by category. Remember, anything you do by category, you are selecting the entire stuff. So I did the grids by category, means I'm selecting all the grids I want to use in this tutorial. But assuming I did by element, it is just going to be that one particular grid. So this is the halftone. You uncheck it, then you apply and you click OK, and my grid comes out very well. By default, this is 5. I don't want that. I always start from 1, then I enter. Then the next thing I'll be doing is to make sure, let me move this back a little bit, is to make sure I copy these grids all around. Another person might decide to keep pressing GR in the keyboard to keep on drawing, then letter your dimension, but that's a whole lot of stress work. So what I do normally is I click on the grids, then I click on copy here in the modify tab, or I can just type CO in my keyboard, which is a shortcut for copy. Then I click the grid, then you can see a default dimension with this that shows you the dimension from the grid I have already, which is grid 1, to the one I want to create, which is grid 2. So for my sketch, the grid 2 is at 1.2 meters. Then you can see grid 2 already appearing here. So from grid 2, the next grid I have is 1.5 meters, which is 1500, or then the other one from grid 3 to grid 4 is 833. Then I enter. So I'm going to quickly just draw my grids, the vertical and the horizontal grids, then we'll just continue with walls. Alright, so I'm done drawing my grids for this tutorial. You can see my vertical and my horizontal grids. Basically, I name my vertical grids with numbers, as you can see. Then I name my horizontal grids with alphabets, as you can also see. Now, one thing I always try and do in my grids is to make sure I don't have something like this where my grids are kind of interfering with each other here. So to correct that, if you have something like that, is to click on the grid, and then there's an add elbow here. You add an elbow to the grid, it just drops down, so you do not have such interferences. Here they're not interfering. Here a little bit of interference. Then when you add an elbow, you can just drag this a little bit backwards, so everything becomes normal. Okay. Alright, now if you notice something, my grid numbers are showing in just one side. So this is what I mean. Let's say this horizontal grid as an example A here is not showing in this corner. What do? There is an easy and a hard way. The easier way is the hardest way, or the hard way to make you spend a whole lot of time on it, is to click on this, and then when you click on the grid, there's a box here. You check the box, and then you see this alphabet here. But you keep on doing this for all the grids, so it takes a whole lot of time. So what I do is, the easiest way is to just click on the grid, go to your edit tab in your property browser, and then here in the plan views symbols end one, that is in default. You just need to check it, and then you apply it, and then you click OK. So everything, all the grids are now applied. Just same way they are downstairs, they are down. Okay, this is interfering a little bit. Okay, I think that's corrected. This guy too. Oh, let me just adjust 5. Okay, so that's just grids in Revit. These are the grids I'm going to be using. So next thing is to now draw walls. So how do we do that? For this tutorial, I'll be using the 225 wall. The shortcut for wall is WA in your keyboard, or you go to architecture and click on wall. So my template has this default walls, the templates I'm using, so I'm just going to be using the 225 Sanskrit wall. So now I'm going to start drawing my walls um according to how I have already sketched them out to look like in each of the grids, and then I try as much as possible to make sure that at least 90% of my walls are in grids. The other ones that are not in grids can be sorted out in the site if it's going to be constructed. Sure. So let's go. My first grid line is my first wall. I'm going to be starting from the back to the front, so I'm going to be starting this way, then down. So first thing I'll do is to get all my external walls that I need. So my first external wall is starting from grid A to grid C. Okay, and from grid C to grid 1, then from grid 1 to grid G, then I come in a little bit to grid 2 again, then I go down all the way to grid H, then I continue this all the way down to grid L, sorry, not grid K, not grid K, grid L. So click on this, type CS, and then I'm still doing the same mistake, sorry. CS, and then yeah, here. Okay, I missed one of my grids when I was drawing, so I'm going to trim this to join them together. I missed one particular grid, and that's grid M. I think I missed that grid. Let's just draw from here. We'll still correct that. So click on this CS, which is shortcut for create similar. So I'm not going to be going from my back, and I'm going to be going from grid 3, which is what I have here, all the way to grid 9, which is this, then down to grid A1, yeah, then to grid 10, then all the way down to grid E, I hope I'm correct, yeah, then to grid 11, then this goes all the way down to grid I. Okay, then it comes in a whole lot to grid 9, then down to grid K. Seems I have a whole lot of cuts in this design. Don't worry about that actually. Then from this grid to grid 7, just want to make sure I'm obeying all my grid lines. Then from grid 7 to grid L. Okay, yeah, as you can see, I'm missing one particular grid, and that grid I'm missing is actually really important to me. So I'm going to click on this grid, and I'm going to determine where that grid is. That's grid okay, I just remembered this wall is not here, this is not here either. So I'm going to click on this wall, then I'm going to CS, which is a shortcut, then this to this, yeah, perfecto, yeah, perfecto. So it was not another grid. I initially got it right when I was placing a wall at K. I'm going to use the trim, and then I'm going to trim this and then this. So these are basically my external walls. So this is just how the shape of my building this is how it's going to look. It's a whole lot of cuts, but don't worry, beams and all that will help us to even some parts up. So the next thing I'll be needing to do is to draw my interior walls. That's the next thing I'll be needing to do in this work. So the interior walls are going to be the next thing. So I'm going to start off again from the back, and then I'm going to sort out my interior walls one after the other. So from the back here, so the interior wall I'm going to be having is going to be running from WA again for walls from grid 7 all the way to grid C. So it's going to have to meet this wall here, and then I'm going to join this guys together. Why? Oh, this one is not not centralized. Okay, so that's this, and the next wall is going to be from grid 4, which is this grid line here, and it's going to run to grid F, which is this, and it's going to run back to grid 6. Okay, then back here, then from grid G, let me confirm this dimension. I think this is longer than I want it to look like, way long. Starting from grid C running to grid F, that's way long, more long than I want. Can't have this like this in 4 meters. Okay, in order to make the video not long, I just decided to run through my interior walls. So these are my interior walls. I'm going to just take you through the spaces. So ante room, we might argue it's not big enough, but it's just an ante room. So we have the visitors toilets here close to the ante room. We have the main lounge, the dining, the kitchen, the store, our 3 bedrooms here. There's 1, there's 2, this the master bedroom, of course. Each of the rooms are in suites. So, and then we have our circulation lobby right here. All right, so that's our interior walls. One thing we designers always like doing is to go to our 3Ds and look at our work, because we love seeing our works in 3 dimension. So let's just check this out. So these are how our building is gonna look at the end of the day in terms of the form. So these the walls, the interior walls, and the external walls we just drew. So one thing I love doing, I think I said that in the beginning of the video, is to always draw foundation walls first. So these are going to act as foundation walls. They're going to run from the foundation straight up to the DPC, because I always draft or model as if I am working on site, as if it's the building is being built on site, because this is how buildings are being built. So we don't just run walls from the foundation all through straight up, so it's stage by stage. So now I'm going to draw my DPC level, the damp-proof course. Then I'm going to take the walls up to the first to the ceiling level. So to draw the damp-proof course, I'm going to go to the damp-proof course level, which is the DPC level. As you can see, I have my external walls showing here, but they are not drawn in this level. How are they showing? If you go to your property browser, you're going to see underlay. So the underlay is currently on to natural ground level. If I check this and drop down this drop down icon and then click on none, you are not going to see any of the walls again, but I need them in order for me to be able to draw my floor. So I'm going to click on the range, that's the base level of the underlay. Then I'm going to click on NGL, so you kind of see my work and the walls that we have just drawn. So to draw floor, you go to architecture, you click on floor. Fortunately, there is no shortcut for this, but of course Revit will keep on improving themselves. So one thing we'll do is we'll go to pick lines, and then we'll pick the edges of our walls, the external walls, and then sorry, that's not an edge. I selected a grid line by mistake, so I'm going to delete that. So pick lines again. Okay. Alright, we're done picking the edges of our walls. One thing we need to always remember in Revit is that you can't have a floor. Revit can't be able to create this, because Revit works with every line, be it you're creating a floor, a roof, a ceiling, by sketch. They must all be in closed loop. So what do we mean by closed loop? So these lines cannot be intersecting each other, and then the lines must meet each other, and it must be a continuous line. So you just need a continuous line running all through that. So I'm going to use the trim tool to trim all the lines that I do not need. So yeah, so this is what we mean by continuous lines. So all the lines must continue in kind of a pattern of your external wall. So I'm going to unjoin. So if you do not do that, let's say I finish all the other ones, but I do not finish this particular one. If I go to finish edit mode, it's not going to, Revit cannot do that. It's going to even give you a message that lines cannot intersect each other, and then it's going to highlight some lines for you and tell you that they are currently intersecting. So we'll go to continue, and then we'll trim it off. So we'll now finish this. So it's going to tell you, do you want to attach this? No, I don't want. So this is going to be your floor. So if you go to the 3D, you can appreciate the floor much better. So you can see our walls running from the foundation to the DPC, then you have the DPC level and the floor we just created. So the next thing we need to do is to go to our natural ground level, and then we're going to highlight all the walls we have drawn by clicking in one place and then dragging. So we'll just highlight all the walls. Of course, multiple categories have been selected, so we'll go to filter, and then we'll check none, and we'll just check walls. We might equally want to check dimensions too. So when we check walls and dimensions, we'll click on apply, then we'll click on OK. Then once we do that, we'll go to the DPC level, and then we'll try. So we've just filtered with only walls and dimensions remaining. We'll just click on OK. Then we'll copy to clipboard. We'll copy again to clipboard to be sure. I want to go to the 3D view, and then copy again because I want to show you something I'm going to do now. So under the pastes, we'll just click on this control, this drop down icon, and you can see align to selected views. So it's going to allow you to select these to selected views, but we don't want that. So we'll just go to DPC level and then aligned to selected. You can see align to current view. We can click here, so you can see the walls all still highlighted in blue. So when we go to our 3D view, you can see these guys like this. So the walls are not still how we want them to look. So we'll go to the DPC level, and then we'll copy we'll highlight all the walls again. We'll check on this, we'll check none, and we'll just check only walls, and we'll go to apply, and we'll go to OK. So we just highlighted only the walls. So what we want to do is to set the top. So we'll go to the top constraint, and then change this to ceiling, and then change the offset to 0 and enter, and then you see our walls running from the DPC level to the ceiling level. So you can go to any of the elevations too to confirm that. So you can see the walls stopping here in the ceiling level. So we'll go back to damp-proof course level. This particular wall, this particular slant wall, you might actually want to give it a grid if you want. If you don't want, you can also decide to leave it like this. So you can appreciate how our work is looking for now. So this is actually a very good start to the tutorial. So for now, we've just created this. So the next thing we need to do now that we've created this is to, of course, go to the DPC level, and then we'll start adding our doors and our windows to this particular work. Alright, so to add our walls, our doors and windows to this work, we'll be using the door and the window tab very well. So to click on or to add doors, you need to go to architecture and click on door, or you can use the shortcut DR. So I want to start off by adding the 900 doors, which is this by default in my template. I have some doors in my template that are already loaded in that I can use. So I'm going to use this 900 door for just my interior doors, my interior 900 doors. I always like using very nice and interesting doors for my exteriors, and I have a whole lot of them in my personal Revit library. So I have a 900 door from here, of course, leading into the dining. So if you have a door like this and you want to place it here, but you want the door to swing to the wall or to swing, you keep on pressing the space bar in your keyboard. It's going to be swinging the door, as you can see. So of course I want to place that there. Okay, so the door places there. Then I have another door leading into my kitchen from the circulation lobby, this here, and I have another 900 door leading into the store. um yeah. So another 900 door to the bedroom, one of the bedrooms, and then to the other bedroom right here. So I might want to flush this with the wall too. Then of course another 900 door to the master bedroom. I want to kind of flush this here too. Okay, and this is the 900 doors I need. Well, let's just say for now. So the next thing I need to do is to click on this door, click on the drop down icon. I can change this to 750, the 750 doors for my toilet, and I'm going to be placing them for toilets. So for this bedroom, toilet swings, the door flushes to the wall. Same thing here. So what if you place the door like this and you want it to swing in? So you have these two arrow directions. They will flip instances for you. As you can see, this flips this, then this flips it inside. So you have this, or you can also do that with your space bar too. It can also flip even when you've placed the door. So I'm going to click on this door, CS, in my keyboard to create similar. So I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to, of course, do same thing, flush it to the wall. Okay, then of course I have this. Then I'm going to do CS2, and then flip this, and then flush it to the wall too. Okay, so I basically have my interior walls, my interior doors kind of sorted out. So if you go to your 3D view, you're going to see these walls like this. um in case you want to create an axonometric view, that's kind of a view where you cut your floor plan in kind of 1500, at 1500 or at 1200, depends on where you want to cut it at. So I'm going to select all this wall, and then I'm going to click on this is the section box, or you can use BX as a shortcut. Then I'm going to uncheck and then check the section box. Then you can see these four arrows. They are actually one. You have this one, helps you to go this way. You have another one here, so there are 1 2, this goes down for you, this goes up, this goes. So you just play with this box, you are going to get an axonometric view. So of course I just want to cut this. No, this kind of too much. Yeah, maybe somewhere here. So you have this, you can click on the section box, you right click, then you can hide it in view and hide by elements. So you have your axonometric view this way. So but we don't want that, so we'll just use this, or just Ctrl Z. Okay, so we'll just leave this way. So the next thing we need to do is to create or to import our interior doors, our exterior doors that we want to use for this tutorial or for this project. So I'm just going to go to I'm going to go to door, and then I'm going to go to load family, and I'm going to go to desktop, and then I'm going to go to my private libraries. This is my private library. I have a whole lot of libraries that I use. So I just loaded in one into the project. Might not be the one I actually want, but let's just see the one I just clicked. Okay, so this is a 1 2 door. I might not like it at the end of the day. So this is the door. Do I like it? Maybe. Do I want another one? Maybe two. So I can just click on this door, load family, and it takes me here. So you can see a whole lot of my doors that I have. There are actually many of them. Let's just use the one we have here already. So So I'm going to click on the door, and I'm going to be setting up some parameters for it. I'm going to edit type. Then I'll just want to make sure it is just exactly what I want. By default this 12 by 21. As by default, but let's dimension and see. I don't think it is going to be that, so I'm going to dimension the door. This 1.4, that's massively big. So I'm going to edit type, then I'm going to change this. Of course I'm going to duplicate, then I can call this updated door, so I do not lose the original one I just loaded in. Then I'm going to change the weight, of course, to 1200. Then the height is still going to be 100. Then the clear opening width 900 is okay. Yeah, I can apply, then I click OK. So the door reduces to 1.2, but this is a whole lot smaller now. This is a whole lot smaller, and the bigger one is more than what I want it to be. So no, this is massively big. So I just want to have like a balance of this other smaller door being 300. So I'm going to edit type. Then I'm going to go to this what's it called? I'm looking for the left. I kind of forgot the name. Okay, so just resolve that. So if you have this type of door, what you need to do is to make sure this width of active leaf is 900. That will balance out with this other one here. So that's actually a very good entrance door. So this is why I don't like this door. You kind of have this swing even showing in your 2D2 even when you do not need it. So I'm going to edit type for the door. Then for this and this, I just selected it. I want to delete it. Then if I go to my floor plans, my level, you're not going to see the swing of the door anymore. So I just want to bring them back, and then go to view. Of course you can't hide, that's the thing, you can't hide in place here. And you can't delete either, because if you delete, you're not going to see that in your I'm not going to see the swing of the door. So I might just want to come out from here and come out from here, and of course you can't equally delete this here. It's from the parameter of when the door was created. It's just they kind of ruined the door in a way. Well, there's nothing we cannot solve. So I just loaded in another type of door for this tutorial. Solving this door is going to make us to do a whole lot of stuff in the family. We'll edit it, we'll keep on editing it. I think this door too has the same issues. Let's just place this and check out. Yeah, they all have the same issues actually. Okay, let's just do what I didn't want to do initially. So I'm going to go to the floor plans, I'm going to go to the cylinder, I'm going to go to model line, then I'm going to go to pick lines, then I'm going to make sure I pick these guys and this, then I will try and trim, then I'll go to the 3D view, then I'm going to delete. If I go to the floor plan, you can still see the line, this swing, then I'll go to this and then equally delete this. If I go to my floor plan, you can see the line I just placed for it. I'm going to load into project. I don't want to save the changes, overwrite, and then we'll give this off a little bit of time and then it closes, but you can still see these lines here, but at least it's much better than how it was looking then. Can we try and resolve that one too? Let me see if I can. Okay, I just clicked on the line. Then you go to this subcategory, you see dot projection, change it to invincible lines. The same thing here, dot projection is the subcategory, change it to invincible lines. And then same thing here, invincible lines. Okay, no, I don't want to save the changes. Of course I want to override graphics, overwrite the existing one I already have. Okay, so we've managed to solve it. If I go to my DPC level, of course you're no longer seeing that particular the particular door, but the swing of the door, so it's just there by default. So I'm going to go to architecture, I'm going to go to line. So I just handled the door by using the detail line in the annotate tab in your Revit user interface, by just clicking on line and then picking the edges of the line, and then you have your door swings here. Alright, so we just loaded in the door. So you can do this for all the doors that look like that you might have. So but those other ones, these other default doors, they do not have that, so that's good news too. So alright, so we have our door. Oh, this is nice, very nice. So I'll go to the DPC level. I just loaded in this door. So I'm going to load in more doors for my exterior. Another door that I need is just one 900 door for the exterior door to the kitchen. So I'm going to go to door and load family. I just hope I choose a door that do not give me this much stress. Alright, so I'm going to I'm going to load in the exterior 900 door. So this is one I have in my libraries too. Might not be exactly 900, so let's just check it out too, like we did for the other one. So this is just 10 bigger than 900. So we'll just click on it, edit type, and then we'll change the width here to be 900, and then we'll change the height to exactly 2.1 meters, and then we apply, we click OK. So 900 I really like the exterior door. Okay, so this is the exterior door, the one we just loaded in, the 900 door, and this is the exterior 1200 door for the main entrance. So that's it for our doors in this. We have our interior doors and our external doors already loaded in. Okay, I think we're missing one door here, a 900 door here, so we can click on this CS a 900 door from the anteroom straight up into the circulation lobby, and then CS2. No. So that's just it for doors in this tutorial. So we'll be looking at windows, but we'll be doing that in the next video. There's already past 30 minutes already, so we'll be looking at windows in the next video. Remember, we are working with contemporary style of architecture in mind, so that's basically where our windows are going to start coming in from. So thank you very much for watching up to this extent. Hope you are learning a whole lot in the tutorial so far. Please do click the subscribe button, like and share the videos to your friends if you want them to equally join you and improve their own Revit skills too. Please do share, do like, do comment, and then please subscribe. Thank you very much. See you in the next video. Peace.